First of all, I would like to welcome Dr. Quang from the Kinyon IMPE control program. So this is the Central Vietnam Institute of the National Malaria Control Program. And Dr. Quang has been working with, has been our great collaborator in Vietnam for several years now. And he will give us a rundown on the malaria epidemiology and the current situation on drug resistance in Vietnam. Dr. Quang?
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Professor Olivo, and thank you very much for your Dr. Ariza. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for your organization invite me for the an important webinar, very important present and future of the genetic surveillance of malaria parasite in the GMS. Today, I would like to talk some more about the update on the malaria epidemiology in the year 2020 and 2021 and anti-malaria drug-resistant in Vietnam status year by year. Next slide. Firstly, I would like to talk about the as you know already, similar to all the country in the GMS, malaria trend in Vietnam from the year 2016 until now, roughly, sharply. And especially on the right side, you can see Vietnam malaria in last year, before last year and last year, reduced sharply, and proportion per 1,000 population also reduced very clear, and you can see some belonging to the manufacturer. I will talk here to you later. And this the malaria trend in Vietnam very impressive degree in K only 2 years, not 2 years. Next, please. And about the Vietnam malaria in the recent 5 years, you can see the total test K decreased 25%, total K decreased 74%, and the total blood falciparum and blood falciparum mix decreased 82%, and especially in the vivax decreased 60%. And especially in the past 2 years, they know the malaria death, and they know the outbreak of the malaria. Next slide. About the progress toward the blood falciparum and blood vivax elimination roadmap, you can see in on the left side, you can see the blood falciparum and the mixed infection decrease about the 22%, and in parallel, blood vivax K also reduced more than 62%. And on the right side, you can see the malaria parasite formula about the falciparum occupy more than nearly 60%, and the blood vivax more than 40%, and other parasite a little under less than 5%. And in the year 2021, it seems to be the popular parasite formula is similar to before last year. Blood falciparum about 44%, and the blood vivax in 55%. This is the remarkable trend because some province in Highland and some province in the northern part of Vietnam have some not outbreak, but somewhere have a trend to the between falciparum and vivax, and some communal health station detect the small outbreak of the vivax in last year. Next slide. And about the malaria control and elimination roadmap, we have a target and challenging looks similar to the other country in the GMS. You can see by the year 20, for reaching the zero malaria target by a long and active roadmap. But until now, the total 36 per 63 province and city at the certified malaria-free and elimination. And we also would like to maintain sustainable factor for the province. And about the falciparum malaria elimination, we would like to eliminate by the year 2025, and all species of the human malaria elimination by the year 2030. And now Vietnam is on the right track, both falciparum mixed infection and especially in the plasmodium radical queue maintain the sustainable factor for elimination of the malaria in some province. And about the obstacle and the challenge in malaria status in Vietnam, we are facing such as drug-resistant, insecticidal resistant residual plasmodium parasite in high proportion, create many plasmodium reservoir, and the last were very difficult to uncontrol the forest goer population, reducing government funding in the recent 3 years. Next slide. About the antimalarial resistant status of the falciparum and plasmodium in Vietnam, we would like to talk with you. Next slide, please. On the right side, you can see the map of Vietnam, and somewhere we create and we establish the sentinel site from Quảng Bình to Bình Phước. On the left side, you can see the some province, for example, Gia Lai, Đắk Lắk, Đắk Nông, and Bình Phước have borderline with the Cambodia. And on the right side, you can see the Quảng Trị, Quảng Nam, Khánh Hòa, and Ninh Thuận. Here they have borderline with Laos, and some of the coastal province. Especially, I would like to talk with you especially in the year 2019 in Gia Lai and in Đắk Lắk, with the total case more than 50K, but we have a late treatment failure more than 34% and more than 67%, and also we have a day triple positive more than 30% in Gia Lai and in Đắk Lắk. And until now, efficacy of deodorizing bivalirudin in treatment for uncomplicated falciparum malaria. As you know already, deodorizing bivalirudin here is the drug of choice for falciparum since the year 2003. But from the year 2003 until the 2017 have a high efficacy and high ICBR. But from the year 2020 in late of this year of 2017 until 2020, overall corrected PCR late treatment failure rate are from the 27%, 56%, 43%, 34%, and 68% in Đắk Nông, Bình Phước, Gia Lai, and Đắk Lắk province respectively, where the border Cambodia. Next slide. And here under the series of the deodorizing bivalirudin resistant, not only for artemisinin resistant, but also for bivalirudin resistant at the partner rock. We have some clinical trial at the urgent trial of the medicine with the Baramat. New Baramat have a high efficacy in the treatment for falciparum, but we are mentioned about the high positive day at the partial resistant for artemisinin and its derivative. In the table, you can see in the Đắk Nông, Gia Lai, Khánh Hòa, and Ninh Thuận, with the total ACBR on the day 28 and ACBR on the day 42, you can see only in Đắk Nông have a efficacy about the 84.2%, and the rest of the province, Gia Lai, Khánh Hòa, and Ninh Thuận, you can see the efficacy nearly 100%. Next slide. And about the efficacy of artesunate piroridine or pyramid of blood vivax and falciparum. The last 2 years, we have a collaboration with the ADFBD in Australia. Here, the first trial of the pyramid in the treatment for blood vivax in Vietnam. With the full data ongoing for ASTMS presentation in this year, but preliminary results show that the pyramid had the high efficacy in the treatment for adult and the children blood vivax patient. Here the first trial and only trial in Vietnam. We use the ACT pyramid for the blood vivax in Vietnam. Next slide. In the second ACT, we would like to see at the second option, and in case of the serious derotemcinin bibaricin resistant spread out and serious, we use the artesunate and mefloquine. We done the clinical trial in Đắk Nông, Đắk Lắk, Gia Lai, and you can see the artesunate mefloquine with the total the sample size 156 people, and with we have a cure rate about 100% for all the sentinel site. However, day 3 positive is still high, more than 20% at the 4 sentinel site. We think the artesunate mefloquine here have a highest efficacy in the treatment for blood falciparum, but we would like to save the artesunate mefloquine at the last weapon for the last mile malaria in the near future. Next slide. And about the efficacy of the chloroquine or chloroquine plus primaquine in the treatment for blood vivax, we would like to review on the sentinel side from the in the northern part to the southern part and in the central highland of Vietnam. Here, for example, in Bình Thuận, Quảng Nam, Quảng Trị, Ninh Thuận, Gia Lai, and Đắk Nông province, and with the periods from the year 2000 until the year 2019, you can see the cure rate more than 89%. Somewhere have a recurrent more than 10%, but at that time and until now, we haven't know the any molecular marker for differentiate the reinfection or relapse. We don't know exactly. However, we saw that about the recurrent proportion less than 5%, and therefore we don't worry about the efficacy of the chloroquine in the treatment for the vivax. Next slide. And about the molecular marker, we also compare K13 molecular marker in GMS from the year 2015 to the year 2020. And you can see we compare together with the Cambodia and Myanmar and somewhere in Vietnam, especially about the marker C580Y have a so high in everywhere. We conduct in the clinical trial in vivo test. It seems to be the more than 38%. And we think the resistant progress in E very complex and highest frequency of the marker C580Y. Pyramid and artesunate TS in the central province border with Cambodia have a high rate of the C580Y. And until now, no evidence-based medicine, especially for the resistant marker to mefloquine inside. Next slide. About the genetic subregion of the malaria from the year to 2017 until now. I think that this slide, Dr. Huynh will talk more detail in the next presentation, and then Professor Oliver Mioto also introduce ready. This study mostly with the objective to determine of the prevalent and geographical distribution of resistant linked genetic mutation in clinical falciparum and vivax isolate for prediction of the drug resistant everywhere in case of the sample size very small for the TS and EDDS in the central and highland of Vietnam. And until now, about the malaria case in Vietnam, focused in the central and highland of Vietnam, and in the northern part and the southern part very rare. And therefore, in the next time, we will focus about the genetic subregion of malaria in this area. Next slide. By the way, by the project, owing to the GenRe project, we have some result. Firstly, I would like to talk about the warming of drug resistant in Đắk Lắk province. You can see the in the red dot with the extremely high level of artemisinin resistance in Đắk Lắk, and about the and another TS conducted in this province, so that the artemisinin resistant treatment late treatment failure so high, more than nearly 70%. Next slide. And about the dynamic of drug resistant spread in the Gia Lai province. Gia Lai very near with the Đắk Lắk, and somewhere when we conduct the TS here, we saw the treatment failure also so high, more than 40%, and a lot of the K13 propeller mutation with the red dot. You can see the outbreak on the pink. Not only for K13 but also blood mapsing genetic marker. Next slide. Especially in Vietnam, until now, some result from the Professor Oliver Mioto and from Dr. Huynh, so that the malaria parasite, especially blood falciparum, is still sensitivity with the mefloquine, and therefore we think the artesunate mefloquine is the last weapon. Next slide. About the molecular marker in antimalarial drug resistant, you can see I would like to review about the curve with the red color in the red color dot with the Cambodia border. You can see the some province in Vietnam, for example, Gia Lai, Đắk Lắk, Đắk Nông, and Bình Phước, so that the with high proportion of the K13 propeller and blood mapsing also. Most of molecular occur in province border Cambodia, and at the present they know the mefloquine resistant evidence, especially via molecular marker. Next slide. Next slide, please. And about the potential and hidden marker in blood falciparum and blood vivax. Now we ready know and we ready detect many molecular marker and copy number variation for component antimalarial resistant ready. However, we haven't know. It seems to be we haven't know the marker for pharmacine resistant, marker for baronarin resistant, and marker for vivax, and here the very difficult to determine, and very difficult to determine about the reinfection or recurrent. Very difficult. Next slide. About the looking forward to the future study. Until now, in spite of the COVID-19 pandemic, not stop, but some malaria falciparum in the central in central highland of Vietnam still occur. Many plasmodium vivax falciparum are emerging in the central and one province in the northern part with the proportion of vivax more than plasmodium falciparum. We use the integrated TS and IDS activity in the malaria endemic zone needed with the new medicine, Paramat and Artesunate flocking. Also, we would like to foster of the malaria surveillance and monitoring activity in line with the efficacy way. We would like to change in the context of the malaria case reduced sharply. We suggest we change of the research collaboration in molecular aspect. Firstly, policymakers need to understand genetic marker surveillance at resistant early warning system. It's been very important and early warning sign. The second, pilot detection of the plasmodium hypnozoid formed by molecular tool. Yes or no? We would like to we want to detect hypnozoid form in the patient during 2 years from the radical kill for them. Thirdly, we track detecting propeller mutation, plasmapsin 2 and 3, exo E415G and other molecular marker for the plasmodium is very important in the near future. Wide open for molecular marker in the new hotspot of the malaria and how to apply at the routine monitoring by the National Malaria Control Program is also very important. Next slide. Once again, we would like to say thank you for your research collaboration in the past 5 years, and we look forward to collaborating with you, all of you, in the next in the malaria elimination roadmap. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Quang. That was extremely clear and extremely comprehensive. And I thought what was particularly interesting is we can see a sort of clear process of introduction of the new therapies, which has been sort of very carefully managed. Questions that have been put on the Q&A window here. So there's a question here from Tim Pollington. Says, thank you, Dr. Quang. Do you think the decline in incidence, what do you think caused the decline of incidence in Vietnam since 2020? COVID curfews causing less vector exposure or disrupting malaria reporting? How has the proxy of PFPV RDT positivity rate changed during this time? So would you like to take that question, Dr. Quang?
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Tim Pollington, on your interesting question about the cause of the decline incident of the malaria case in Vietnam since 2020. As you know, in the COVID-19 start from in the first year of the 2020. And therefore, many migrant and mobile population from the central highland of Vietnam moved to from central highland of Vietnam moved to the south province for the packing of the seafood and working together at the furniture worker. And as you know, ethnic community with the with the low income. When they move to the southern part, they have a high income and high salary and very stable in the long time, and therefore until now they stay there in the long time, and therefore we renew of the mobile and migrant population go to at the forest go to the deep forest. And here the first reason, and the second in the reason, maybe you know the COVID-19 caused the social distancing and lockdown somewhere at the mid 2020 and first quarter and second quarter of last year, and therefore the Vietnam government not permission for population move to everywhere, only in the local, and limited movement everywhere. And that here the second thing, and the third and fourth and so on. I think about the global climate change with the mosquito population reduced by the survey in the short time, and about the in Vietnam, you know, the reason why maybe the rapid diagnostic test affecting on the formula of the parasite. I don't think so, because until now Vietnam are currently using the RDT at the bioline from at the bioline PF and BV, LDH and heterin protein 2, and therefore very easy to differentiate the falciparum and blood-borne vivax. In parallel, we also collect the slide from the patient, and we do the in parallel, and therefore the result, I think, the credible and reliable.
To follow on what you just said, there is another question here from Tess asking why the P. vivax foci are arising more than falciparum.
Thank you for your question from the Dr. Ted Vesuren. The reason why the blood-borne vivax are arising and emerging in somewhere in Vietnam in recent years, as you know already, for falciparum, very easy, only the ACT and following one single dose for primary phosphate, only 1 day. But for vivax or the mixed infection between falciparum and vivax, we need to yield the consecutive 14 days for primary. But we are facing about the poor adherence and poor compliance from the patient. When they yield the primary, after 3 days, after first 3 days for chloroquine and primary, it's okay. Stop fever and stop fatigue, and they feel that better. And after that, we provide for them about the rest of the 11 of the primary days. But they don't use the primary in the full dose, and therefore it is easy to call the relapse onward. It is the reason why. It is the main reason why. And therefore, some blood-borne vivax foci are arising somewhere high prevalence of the blood-borne vivax in the central highland of Vietnam. Yeah.
So, and quickly, I would like to go on to the third question here, which actually I had a very similar question. So you seem to be implying that there is some initial sign of it says here late treatment failure, perhaps, you know, sort of less efficacy of the Pyramax in Dak Nong, and the question, I guess the question here is, do we suspect that there is actually some element of resistance to pyrrolizine, or is this simply the effect of artemisinin resistance?
Yes, thank you. Hi, Dr. Richard Pearson. Once again, thank you for your question. The question have two components. The first component I would like to talk with you. I don't think so about here either late treatment failure for Paramat in Dak Nong province, because in Dak Nong province from the year 2017 until the year 2020, we conduct two TS study. One TS with only the small sample size, only the 19 patient, and therefore we have a treatment failure. Treatment failure due to the withdraw or the lot follow-up, and therefore we have a high treatment failure. But in the next in the second trial, we have a 43 patients on the Đắk Minh district of the Đắk Nông province. We have a 33 patients, and all of them have a high efficacy, more than 97%, and therefore we don't understand. We don't think here that initially treatment failure. And the second whole component in your question have a Parasites-resistant marker. And until now, maybe you can ask the Professor Oliver for more detail, because I know in Vietnam we use the Parasites for 3 years, and until now is the 4 year. But until now only the day positive so high, more than 20%, due to basal resistant to atamidine resistant. But about the baronadine resistant, we don't exactly, and we haven't know the marker for this. Yes, please ask the Professor Oliver. Thank you for your own question.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for that. I think, well, we'll have to take that offline, but I think we should probably discuss also with Dr. Nguyen and other partners what would be a good strategy to try to separate things and determine whether there really is a difference in the phenotypes with peronaridine. I think it's a very, very relevant question.